defence reviews will be in every 5 years from now on. But I have in final definition, definite proof from the Financial Times that the carriers will not be saved. Only one carrier will be saved. The other will be mothballed or sold. Over 7,000 men will be lost from the army by 2015. The tank force will be reduced by 40%, which will affect BAE Systems as they produce the largest amount of heavy land forces for the British Army. Cuts in army and heavy tanks will affect BAE, which provides the Army's heavy land systems, as well as companies such as Babcock, who provide training and maintenance. However, the impact on BAE will be limited by the company's diversity and size. The contracts represent only a small part of its profits, says the Financial Times. The Harrier will be scrapped by 2011. The squadrons of Tornadoes will be cut. These are old planes, and I, broadly speaking, agree with the cutting the Tornadoes. They will be replaced by Eurofighter. But I do not agree with the loss of the Nimrod or the Harrier, because we will have no planes until 2015 or 2020, according to the Financial Times, in flying any planes of our carriers. Okay, what is the industrial impact as the surface fleet of frigates is cut from 23 to 19 ships? The decision to scrap the Ark Royal will be continued to build the 2 new carriers. Most affects BAE Systems, which is building the carriers, and Babcock, which owns the shipyard. The decision to configure the ships will also have a big effect on which aircraft that they can carry, which will be the Joint Strike Fighter. But it will be the non-carrier based Joint Strike Fighter that they're trying to fit onto a carrier, which doesn't make any sense. It is a more powerful plane. It has a longer range and a greater payload of bombs, but the role of a fighter carrier bomber is to engage other aircraft as well, and to be able to deploy from carriers, to have vertical takeoff and use a ski ramp to deploy over short lengths of a field, an airfield, which is what an aircraft carrier is, a mobile airfield. The Typhoon, the Eurofighter, will be cut. The Joint Strike Fighter will be cut. Service loss of personnel will be 5,000 immediately and 33,000 by 2015. Service personnel for the Royal Navy lost will be 5,000 now immediately to 30,000 by 2015. The amount of warheads will be cut from nuclear warheads will be cut from 48 to 40. And this will affect the industrial impact will be on BAE Systems and Babcock again, and also Rolls-Royce, who interestingly will be the ones who are producing the nuclear reactors. You didn't know that about Rolls-Royce. I really should tell people to look at Euronews and also at the Financial Times as well. I'm not getting paid for this, it's not an advert. There should see some upside from the extension of the life of the current submarine fleet and a commitment to go ahead with designing and building the new one. The missiles will be made by Lockheed Martin, that's an American firm, and the warheads by the Atomic Weapons Establishment, which is a private British firm. Yes, our nuclear weapons are produced by private firms. Amazing. Now, what about the Iraq-sized deployments? Will these be possible? I shall continue from the Financial Times. This is a good source of information. Let me just get the story for you. Iraq-sized deployments are scrapped. The white paper calls for the cutting of 42,000 jobs and several programs being ended. It is unlikely that Britain will be able to undertake the scale of military deployment seen in Iraq or Afghanistan. in fact, it's more likely that we will have an army that is cut from down to 6 mobile brigades. So at most we will be able to deploy about 5,000 men. Now at the same time as this is going on, when we are cutting our forces, what is going on in the world? Well, only the biggest arms deal in history, which hasn't even been on the news, on the TV at all. The biggest arms deal in history has just happened. 80 billion, 60 to 80 billion is being procured, worth of arms is being procured from the Saudi crime family from the United States. This is unbelievable. Yes, the Saudis do have a beef with the Bin Laden family, but they are more or less both completely anti-American. Why is Obama allowing this to go through? He must have signed for it. Now, let us look further into this, the implications of this, in a second. US agrees 60 billion Saudis arms deal. This is again from the Financial Times. The US is due to announce on Wednesday an arms sale to Saudi Arabia that could total more than £60 billion. It is the largest transaction in history. The former congressional notification by Obama administration comes after weeks of talks with the US Congress and with Israel. Now, why is the Israelis allowing America to give arms to their arch enemies, the Saudi Arabians? It does not make any strategic sense at all, other than they are both more worried about Iran. And Maliki's, in the Iraqi Prime Minister, Maliki has been given support from Iran openly. So therefore, are we worried about the loss of Iraq to Iran? Has that already happened silently and covertly? We do not know. But the implications of this will have to be seen. But what other military news is there in the papers, since we're on the subject of the military? The special forces in Chechnya killed all the attackers who used a suicide bomber and then a hit squad to try and storm the Chechen parliament, and they were successful in storming it and keeping everybody hostage there for around 6 hours, and then the Spetsnaz, the Russian special forces, stormed the area and killed the 6 people who did this. Were they strictly Chechen nationalists, or were they linked to Al-Qaeda? This hasn't been fully explained yet, but it is maybe linked to the Ossetian Islamic insurgency, which is linked to Al-Qaeda. But the whole region, Ossetia and Chechnya, are basket case countries. Also, from the Financial Times again, Russia is to attend NATO summit. Dmitry Medvedev, Russia's president, on Tuesday told his French and German counterparts at a meeting in Normandy that Russia would attend the NATO summit in Lisbon in November. He also predicted that Moscow was preparing to consider participation in the US planned missile shield. Very interesting. In Eastern Europe, Russia has declined to say earlier whether it would attend. Now, also another strategic move by the Russians is Moscow lowers oil export taxes. Russia is prepared to introduce a profit-based tax on new oil fields from 2012. Sergei Shyatlov, Deputy Finance Minister, said in a move that could quell fears of production decline due to the current tax regime. The plan would also lower oil export duties and mineral extraction taxes, Mr. Shyatlov said. So lots of things are going on, and I will do my own commentary vid on this, what I believe is happening later on. Thank you for listening. And check out the Financial Times, and check out the Euro News, and also France 24. Very good news channels.